of our annual challenge. It's like we're having some trouble trying to connect. No surprise there. It's called technology. It does what it wants to do, and we just roll with it. So today we're talking about, and all this month we're talking about spiritual health and well-being, the spiritual aspects of our business. Our spirit is what drives us, whether we're aware of it or not. And that is true of our businesses as well. There's a spirit, that enhances our culture or detracts from our culture in our organization. We all have culture in our organizations, whether we believe it or not. Well, today we're talking about fasting and fast discipline and discipline through fasting. Now, fasting, most people think of, like I did in college, just gave up food and drank liquid protein for 30 some days because I put on that freshman 15 and I didn't want to be chubby for the spring formal. Yeah, believe it or not. 30 days, no food. That was crazy. But it did teach me a lot about myself. It gave me clarity. I have never studied better in my life than I didn't have to worry about the drama of going to the cafeteria to eat meals 3 times a day, etc. Sometimes I just went to hang out with my friends and be social and to continue building relationships. But for the most part, I just kind of skipped that whole aspect and gained like 3 hours a day that I could use to study in areas that I wanted to put more emphasis. Now, did I think I was sacrificing the college campus food? Well, a little bit, the junk food, but not really. I looked at what I was benefiting and gaining and the clarity I had in terms of studying and growth and learning, which is what I was there for in the first place, right? Don't always remember that when we're freshmen and sophomores in college, but at some point it clicks and it's like, oh yeah, I'm paying for this education. Maybe I should actually get this education. I don't know if anybody else has had that aha moment in their life. I've had it several times. So today, our challenge is going to be to give up something that we habitually do for 24 hours. Now, think about what that's going to be and do what makes sense. Maybe you can only stay off your email for 4 hours a day because you want your company to still run. And then ask yourself, get some clarity around that. If I cannot go on a 4-hour detox of email in my business, is my business maybe a little bit too dependent on me? The answer is yes. If you don't know it, the answer is yes. How do I know? Because that was me. Absolutely positively was me all the time. When I was in corporate America, when I was building my businesses, I was kind of a control freak, if you can imagine that. So today we're going to pick one thing and we're going to take a fast from it. I've done this not only in college when I was like, I don't know what I was thinking. I've done it throughout different periods of my life. I've given something up that I was habitually doing. When I started my first job out of college, I was in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and my aunt and uncle lived there. And I would go over and have dinner with them sometimes, and we would watch the news and, of course, Wheel of Fortune, because my aunt just loved Wheel of Fortune. And I kind of got in the habit of that. So I'd come home from work and I'd be making dinner, and I would throw on Wheel of Fortune and then the news, or the news and then Wheel of Fortune. I can't remember which came first, probably the news. And I'd gotten into a habit of watching the news, which even back then, it wasn't a really great, healthy habit to have. And I was honored enough to be selected for a special training that they did at the company I worked at back then. And it was called Louis Tice training. I don't know that it's even around anymore. Probably not. I haven't Googled it. I'd have to look. But it was an awesome week-long training. And one of the first things they did, the facilitators said, okay, we are going to all go on a news diet, a news fast for the week. And we went a week without the news. Well, guess what? After a week without the news, that was enough to break my habitual watching of it. And I never went back. I have watched the news a handful of times since then. One was 9/11, the big event things I've watched it for. But otherwise, I just don't. Especially now, we need to be able to think for ourselves. We need to be able to discern and make our own decisions and choices about things, not be flim-flammed around by anyone outside of us, much less the media, who has their own best interests at heart, right? They do things for their own reasons. We will never understand those reasons. And do we really care? No. But we can just choose not to participate. So pick one thing that you are going to choose not to participate in for 24 hours. Maybe it's reactive decision making. Maybe it is email. Maybe it's no meetings for an entire day. I hope that in your business you take an offsite at least twice a year or quarterly, a whole day where you unplug and you focus on the things that are important for building your business. So you can actually take the time to work on your business, not just in your business. Anybody else guilty of that? Anybody? Definitely. I was probably one of the worst examples of that. And then I'd get overwhelmed and burnt out and I'd be exhausted all the time because I thought I had to do everything. It's amazing the amount of capacity we have, especially as women. It's amazing to me how much we can actually do. But at some point, our little red wagon fills up and we have to say, time out, enough. This is a great day to do that. So share in the comments below what you're going to fast from. Maybe you give up coffee for a day. I gave up coffee for 5 years because I thought it was good for me. And then I realized I was doing just the opposite, and coffee was actually good for me. Not a ton of it, not 2 pots a day like I used to consume, but 2 cups. 2 cups a day is fine. And so I start my day off with a cup of coffee, and then sometimes I still get that little afternoon slump, so I'll have a cup of coffee then. But that's it. I don't remember the last time I had more than 2 cups of coffee in a day. But I actually gave it up cold turkey for 5 years, thinking that I had to. All right, any questions about this? I'd love to know your thoughts on this about, and here's my little glitch about this. People will call this sacrificing. Now, how do you feel when you think you're sacrificing something? I don't know about you, but it doesn't make me feel good. So am I sacrificing something, or am I making a choice to do something that is different and good and try it out for me? If I'm making a choice to not go out on Friday night with my friends, because this is the example that a lot of gurus use, am I sacrificing, or am I making a choice that is in my best interest, that's in alignment with my goals and objectives and where I want to go with my life? And if I'm doing that, isn't that awesome? That's not a sacrifice. That's an exercise of personal power. And it's actually an honor to honor ourselves and our own wishes. And that's what discipline's all about too, right? It isn't just about giving something up. It's about doing things that line up with who you really are and what you want to create in the world. All right, any questions about this? Hit me up and ask. Otherwise, go out, make it an awesome day. Keep in mind that we have a free Supersize Your Business school community on the school platform. If you would like an invitation to that, just put me in the comments below and I will send you one. Otherwise, go out, make it an amazing day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow. Bye.